All right, so I've started the recording. I am going to stop this transcript because I find it very annoying. So there we go. All right, perfect. All right, so I'm Felicia, so I'm your compliance trainer for today. So basically what I will be doing is I will be going through the system with you and we'll be doing some activities as well, just to make sure you guys learn the system properly. And I'll ask you some questions kind of throughout as well, just to make sure you understand the training that I'm delivering today. So I've been with Reed for 3 years next year. So, and I've always been in this position. I know a lot of people kind of start out as EAs and then they move up. I didn't. I just kind of cheated the system and just jumped straight to the compliance team. But I really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. Get to work across multiple kind of different contracts and things like that. So I think it's really fun. I think Reed as a whole is a really good company, lots of perks and stuff like that, which is really nice. What we're also going to do is we're going to do one interesting fact about ourselves. And my interesting fact is that I have lived in 4 different countries, I think it is. So I grew up in Sweden, I've lived in China, and I've lived in the US in Texas, and now I live here. So kind of all over the place. All right. Kieran, do you want to do some introductions?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name's Kieran. I am the business process analyst for this contract. It's not one of the only contracts I've got. I think I've got 4 different contracts that I kind of look after. So from a compliance point of view, we'll keep an eye on the contract, see how it's going, making sure everything is going in terms of what it should be with the expectations of the contract from the commissioner and the expectations. As well as kind of any guidance documents that will be produced, maintained kind of as the contract grows and develops. I'll be looking after those as well. So if there's kind of any issues with things on the contract, any questions or queries, you probably will go to your manager first as kind of general rule of thumb. But if it's not, kind of come towards me or Felicia, and we can kind of help with any queries and things that you may have. Interesting fact about me is I currently own 9 different bowling balls.
Nice.
So yeah, bowling. I picked up bowling as a hobby when I moved to Reed because the office where I worked was very close to a bowling alley, and I thought it's something I know a few friends had done. Picked up as a hobby, and then as some people can do with hobbies, get heavily addicted very quickly and invested a lot of money. So yeah. I think I will nominate Roxanne first, please.
I had a feeling it was going to be me next.
Sorry.
It's okay. So I'm Roxanne, and I am going to be the support advisor. And I've worked with the team for almost 3 years come April. So with Thrive Tribe before we moved over here. And interesting fact about me, I'm from Canada. I'm from a city that's near like a ski resort town that's very touristy. So wintertime, it's like the classic, looks like, kind of North Pole vibes
That's amazing.
at the moment. So yeah.
Maybe this is a stupid question, but are you from the, does everyone in Canada speak French, or is it like kind of half and half, or?
The whole country is bilingual, so you are meant to learn it. Like I did learn bits and pieces growing up, but never, like I should have taken another language in high school specifically, or in college even, but no, it's Quebec is the province, sort of like the state. So it would be like Texas as a whole, everyone speaks French. And then it just trickles into other parts of the country if they learn it properly. But there are loads of bilingual schools, so like French immersion schools that you can go to if you live near one anyways, growing up. And so you do learn French, but I was not at one of those schools. So I only know bits and pieces.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And who do you want to nominate, Roxanne, to go next?
I'll go with Miriam.
Hi, I'm Miriam. I was part of the support team. I worked for Thrive Tribe for 11 years. At the moment, I don't have a role assigned for me yet. So I don't know what's going to happen to me at some point. Interesting fact about me, I'm a mum of four.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I nominate Eloy. Go ahead.
So I'm Eloy. I'm the program support manager. I previously worked at Thrive Tribe for 7 years, so I know Miriam and Lorna that long, and Roxanne when she started. Um, Interesting fact, or just a fact, I don't know how interesting it is. I am multicultural, so I'm Spanish, Greek, partly Iranian.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of mix, and I went to a bilingual Spanish school here in London. So I'm very fluent in Spanish.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Very cool. What part of London are you in then?
Central London
Oh,
in
yeah.
Westminster. I live in the north of Westminster, the borough. So one of the
Ah.
boroughs that we operate in for this contract. And Roxanne lives in Kensington and Chelsea.
Oh,
So
cool.
between us, we cover the borough.
Oh,
The
nice.
boroughs. Yeah, I live in the north of Westminster, which is fairly nice place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice. And last but not least, Lorna.
Hello, everyone. For those that don't know, I'm Lorna. Worked in Thrive Tribe for 9 years
Oh, yeah.
before being TP'd over. I cannot think of an interesting fact off the top of my head, so I'm going to go with an achievement instead, and that is me and my partner have been together 24 years.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's
and
amazing.
people do find that quite interesting when they
Yeah.
discover that. So yeah, that would be my interesting fact.
So how did you guys meet then? You must have met quite young.
Back in the day, the original way, just on the street through your friends, none of this
Ah, right,
swiping
yeah.
and finding people elsewhere. Just just through friends groups and music and movies. Really, that's how people met back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. Me and my partner met actually. My partner is from London as well, but well, his family lives in Greenwich, but he would always go
Yeah.
into like central London, and we met through, I don't know if you know what it is, but City Socializer, because like I just moved to London and he was like one of the hosts, like holding events and stuff. So we met through that. So no app stuff, which was nice. All right, very good. So, like I said to this morning, well, this before lunchtime, after lunchtime, we're gonna go until 1, but it kind of depends on how good you guys are with the system. So, but I'm gonna try and explain the system as good as I can, obviously. And Kieran will let us know when you all have logins and everything. And please, if you're confused about anything like regarding the system or don't understand anything, or if I am going too quickly in the system, then please, please, please let me know so I can either slow down or so I can adjust the training a little bit so we all kind of understand. As well. Don't worry, I will give you guys a few breaks as well, so we won't just sit here until 1 o'clock. I will give you a few breaks, and I'm gonna kind of give you the activities to do, and you'll go off and do that on your own, and 5 to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and things like that. So I will try not bore you to death, hopefully. So, have you guys had a look at the system? Do you know what it is? Do you know how to? Have you had a play around on the system at all? Have you seen the system? Just tell me a little bit, kind of if you're familiar, not familiar.
So I've personally tried to log in to the system and the system training, but obviously we don't have the logons. So
Yeah.
I don't even know what it looks like, how the interface is. I don't think any of us know anything about Orion
Yeah.
or its uses, but we are the systems experts for Thrive Tribe. The systems that we use, people would come to us when they needed support. So I'm hoping, no pressure on us, but I'm hoping we can pick it up fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we haven't seen it at all.
Well, that's no problem. I mean, so since you guys are familiar with systems already, like I've been through several systems as well, like moving from different contracts and stuff, and usually like CRMs and stuff like that work relatively the same. And Orion is also kind of the same. It looks a little bit outdated, I will say. Like it looks like it is from like the 90s, like straight out of the 90s. But when you pick it up, like it is super, super simple to use. So I'm not worried at all that you guys will pick it up fairly quickly. So I'm gonna start off with how to actually get on to Orion is kind of a good starting point. So let me share my screen. If it wants to.
Excuse me, sorry. Just while Felicia is just getting the training up and sharing the screen, have all of you logged into something called Citrix Secure Access yet? So that is going to be, because it's a closed system and needs, you probably know kind of from using your old systems anyway, but needs to make sure it's secure, we use Citrix to log in. So if you've all logged in, that's a massive help. What we'll do is I'll quickly send the link in the chat for the training that you will be using. The old link is through the intranet, but if you use that, it'll ask you for a username and password, whereas if you use this correct link, it should take you to it. But if you then click on it, it'll ask you to then, you've timed out, please retry or log in again. If you press that at the minute, it'll just come up, you don't have the correct credentials, but as soon as your account's created, it will let you log in. So you've all got the kind of early bit out of the way in terms of making sure you're all logged into Citrix. So thank you for that.
All right, so let's get started. Can you all see my screen? Yeah, cool.
Yep.
All right. Just a little bit of housing rules as well. If you have questions, please just shout them out. If you're very shy, it's fine to put them in the chat, but because there's not many of us, I'd rather you just unmute yourself and just ask, if that makes sense. That way it's a little bit more, conversation like. And I've learned with these training sessions that as the more familiar we are, the better you guys will learn, basically. So when it's very, very formal or very, very death by PowerPoint, I found that people kind of shut their brain off very quickly and don't learn anything. So if you have a question, just unmute yourselves and just ask. Like I said, if you're very shy, put it in the chat, that's fine. Karen will keep an eye out in the chat for me. And yeah, like I mentioned, if I am going too quickly, please let me know. Or if you don't understand something, please let me know. It is a completely new system for you guys. So yeah, just let me know. All right, so this is kind of the Read intranet. You guys should have access to this. Have you seen it before? I see some nods. Okay, great. So this is also how you will kind of get into the training or the training system and Orion itself. So you see we have a few links here on the left-hand side. So you see we have Orion, we have an Orion kind of help guide in here as well, and you have Orion training. I believe today that you will be using Orion UAT. Is that right, Kieran? You're setting them up on the UAT system? Yeah. So today you will be using the UAT system, the Orion UAT system. So there are 3 different Orions, basically. The UAT system you won't have access to here, but we will give you the link, so you'll be able to log in from there. So don't worry about that. But obviously you have Orion, which is kind of the live Orion. So like all the live data will be on there. So please don't put anything strange on there. Don't put any, made up participants. Don't practice things on there. If you do want to practice, please make sure it's on Orion training system or that it is on the UAT system. Okay? Yeah, Eloy?
Sorry. What is UAT?
So I was just about to get to that. So you have UAT and training. Basically, UAT is what we use to kind of make sure everything works before it's moved on to the live Orion. So it's how they can check like, oh, this is how the program is going to run. This is how you create a participant. This is how you can do this and this. So like it's all kind of fake data. But it's just to make sure that the contract runs smoothly on the system, basically. So they'll usually set up the contract on UAT first, and then it'll be moved over to Live Orion and to the training system, if that makes sense. So that's why I usually conduct my training on UAT. Kieran, do you want to add anything to that, or does that explanation
no.
kind of fair?
Yeah, that's it. It's a space where there's no live data, basically. So, free to play around with it. Essentially, it's a way to get to know the system, but also when there are any kind of rollouts for a new element of the system. So, say there's a change in the contracts and it now needs to be this, we can then see how it will look on the UAT without affecting live data, and then roll it out as an initial release onto the main system. Just a quick one. Everybody should now have access to the UAT. So if you could all just quickly try and just click that link that I sent in the chat, and then when the box comes up to ask for you to kind of re-sign in, if you just click that, it should bring you up to the UAT. So I think if Felicia just quickly shows what that looks like, so if you've all get to the same screen, at least then we can kind of see, make sure.
Oh, yeah, love.
I may need to share mine if you want, Felicia.
Yeah, please give yours a try.
Yeah, just bear with 1 second.
And I'm gonna see if I can.
Yeah, I have access to the UAT system.
Perfect.
There it is.
Yeah, I've got it in mine.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Yep, everyone's in. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Okay, and mine is in as well. Yeah, did you show yours? Sorry, I was looking away.
Yeah, I shared mine. I think everyone did you confirm as well? Sorry, Miriam.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, thank you.
Oh,
yeah, everyone's
perfect.
in. All good, Felicia.
Amazing. So everyone now have access. That makes the training a lot easier for everyone. All right, so I just want to show you a little bit of an overview, what we will be kind of going through today. I will also send this presentation to you after we've had the training. So if you want to follow along with the presentation, that's absolutely fine. You'll also have Kieran's guidance, well, Kieran's and Sarah's guidance. Sarah is not here today, but she's kind of the second BPA on this contract. So you'll have their guidance to go off of as well. And of course, like Kieran said, if you have any questions after the session, if you want kind of a refresh or anything like that, then please don't hesitate to contact me and I will kind of help you out with everything. All right, so this is an overview of today. So we will be going through referrals and eligibility. We'll be creating a service user record. We'll be uploading a referral form, changing the program type, contacting the service user, booking appointments, conducting the pre-assessment questionnaire. We'll go into a little bit kind of service users under 13, as well as recording attendance, recording contact attempts that you've done with the participant, sending communications, canceling appointments, canceling a session, and closing a service user's record. We're also going to go quickly into DARs as well. I will explain what that means later on. It's just it hasn't been added on to here, but we will be going through DARs as well. All right. So referrals and eligibility. So it is essential that PSS assess each prospective service user's eligibility during their initial contact with the individual, of course. So for the GP or healthcare provider, you'll get the referral through the service user. GP or healthcare provider will refer the service user on their behalf to the program via email through the NHS inbox. You also have through telephone, so the service user will directly call the PSS team to self-refer to the program. And then you have the online referral as well, where the service user will complete a self-referral via the website as well. All right. Kieran, just so you can mention as well how they'll be getting extra referrals. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, having a mare with my teams this morning.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's pretty much where the 3 referrals will come from. So there is a kind of a 4th one, but this won't necessarily be coming through to you, your team, I don't believe, is some of the kind of the ones who's working in the community through the partnership team will look at also driving referrals through some of their events, but they should be setting them up themselves and doing the kind of initial bit whilst they're there. Unless it's a case where they're trying to potentially set someone up and do it all and they don't have time, they then may refer it over to yourselves. But in terms of getting them onto the program, they are the 3 the main areas of it. Just a quick one I just want to add, sorry. Have you heard kind of yourselves referred to as the PSS team yet? Yeah, I'm just interesting because I know obviously we have a centralized team and called PSS, and then you're kind of your own team within the contractors PSS as well. Just making sure you was being referred to those previously, you understood that. But yeah, no, that's it from me. So thanks, Felicia.
No problem. All right, and just to make sure everyone is logged in now, because now we will be getting kind of onto what you're going to be doing on the system. So you can either follow along with me, what I'm doing, or you can just watch what I'm doing, and then you'll have a chance to do it yourself. It's kind of your choice on how you learn the best. So I'm going to leave that up to you. All right. Very good. So the first thing that we're really going to be doing is creating our service user record. So you as the PSS team can create a service user record on Orion. And like we said, all referrals received via GP or the website should be created kind of within 48 hours, ideally. But to create a participant, you'll go to this kind of member tab right here. And here you're going to go to create a new member. From here, you can see that you have the program type and you have program in here, and you have a NI number and a NI number down here as well. For the program type, of course, you're going to be using kind of the one that is relevant, if that makes sense. Let's see, you have a few to choose from in here. So I'm going to choose the move more one. And then you can see the program in here. So this is the program. You'll only really have kind of one choice once you've chosen the kind of program type. And you can also see that it's changed now to NHS number instead of NI number. So that kind of automatically does that when you choose the program type and the program as well. With the NHS number, this should be found on the referral form. And if there is no NHS number on the referral form, you can just tick the little check mark right here that says does not have NHS number. So this is what you'll use today. You'll just put that little check mark in for today. Of course, then you'll do the name, first name and last name. So I'll use Bugs Bunny. And the date of birth, we'll do 09 07 1987. That seems like a good date for today. So when you create your participants, now when you choose the name and last name and everything, if I can just ask you to make it so that it looks, it looks like not a real participant, if that makes sense. So you can use author names. I like to use Disney characters, or you can use Disney princess names, whatever you want to do. Do something fun with it. And if you can just put your kind of participant that you create in the chat, just so I know the name, all of them, so I can check over them after when we've started with the activities, and so Kieran can have a look in them as well. And it's also if you run into an issue, so Kieran and I see what your participant is, so we can kind of look them up as well. All right, does that make sense? All right, cool. So once you put all of that in, you'll just create the member. And this should kind of put you onto this page where we have some more things to fill in. So just so I know, are you guys following along or are you just watching me?
I'm following along.
Yeah?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I am following, but I only have one screen, so I have to keep jumping
Yeah,
back
no
and forth.
problem.
I'm following along.
Okay, very cool. So,
Shall
if
we
you're all
pop our
following
names in the
Yeah.
chat? Sorry to cut you off.
No, don't worry. Yeah, just put your participant name in the chat. So like I said, if you run into an issue, Kieran and I can kind of go into your record and we can see if there's something, sometimes there's something wrong with the system. And sometimes it's that we've done something wrong as the person using the system. So, you know. Very good. Beautiful. I see loads of them coming through. All right, so I'm going to go into the next page while you guys are kind of doing that. So as you can see, we have a few different things to kind of fill in here. From the referral form, you should obviously fill in as much as possible. So we have the title. So I'm going to do Mr. And we have, if they have a preferred name to use, you know, sometimes you have your birth name, but sometimes you prefer to go by a different name. That's absolutely fine. You can put that in there. You also have gender, and here you have a few different options. Female, male, non-binary, other, and prefer not to say. So you can put whichever one in there that's the correct one or relevant. We also have ethnicity in here as well. So I will do him as white British. And there we go. And you have the sexual orientation. Disability, you can see a few of them kind of drop downs are not working properly, and that is because we are on the UAT system. In the kind of live system, all of these drop downs will work, but because we are in the kind of UAT system, we might run into some small issues. If there are bigger issues, I will show you kind of what it looks like on the presentation, if that makes sense. You can still get a good picture of it. But just know if that happens, it is usually the system. All right. Is the individual a smoker? I'm going to put them as no. We have their religion as well. He prefers not to say. Does the participant require additional support to communicate? We'll put that as no. And then you have the address in here as well. So I will
Sorry,
put,
Felicia, under
Yeah.
contact permission, I was just going through the options.
Yeah.
Do we have to ask for this? So
Uh,
during the triage,
Yeah.
do we have to
Kieran.
mention, yeah, these permissions?
Kieran, do you know the answer to that? Kieran usually knows.
So yeah,
these
sorry, I'm
things.
just trying to get off mute. So having troubles still. For that, no, I think that's more because it's a generic one. I think that's more for kind of other programs with it. And if they perhaps say they don't want any meeting reminders or anything like that, that'll come through it. That's also kind of will be identified when you complete the privacy notice and things like that with them.
Okay.
So just in terms of kind of going through everything on there, there'll be a lot which is more of kind of a system thing, not to kind of ask more of a case of you notice, but on the whole, yeah, just get the information that Felicia's kind of going through, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your question.
And also these yellow ones, the yellow like highlighted boxes are kind of the mandatory things you need to fill out. Obviously, it's a good that you can put as much information as possible, but though that's kind of the main one. Also, we have the phone number and the email as well. There we go. And we have the referral date. If I'm not wrong, it'll be the date that is on the referral form, Kieran, isn't it? Just to double check with you. And not
It is,
the
yeah.
date. Yeah, not the date you create the participant. It'll be the date that is on the referral form. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Good.
the reason for that as well is, especially kind of over Christmas, there may be some referrals that come through kind of during the Christmas that may not get picked up till the new year. So it is just when they initially made it, or when the GP made that referral. But yeah, it'll be on the referral form from the date you use.
Very good.
The boxes in yellow, are they mandatory boxes, and everything else is optional?
Yeah, exactly. Like most of the information you'll find like on the referral form. But those are, yeah, the yellow ones are like the mandatory boxes that you just have to fill in before you create the member.
I just have a question, sorry.
Yeah.
With in the very top where it asks their religion, would you say that like, unless it's stated on a referral, would you actually ask that to a person on the phone? Because that is
It's
one
not,
of the only
yeah.
things that we didn't ever ask
No,
before.
that's absolutely fine. You can do other or prefer, you can do just prefer not to say on that one. You know, obviously if it comes up in conversation, you can add it, but it wouldn't be good because it's not mandatory on this program. So I wouldn't say that you have to ask it, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
So that's no problem.
And
All
just
right. Yeah.
in terms of kind of what happens once you pass the team, which we'll show on the training in terms of adding it to a coach's diary, they will also then kind of re-go through this with the participant anyway, and they will kind of on a face-to-face basis collect anything that might be missing when they'll be working with them more often. So I know they'll build that rapport with the person, and it's probably easy to ask the kind of questions in terms of are you religious, or kind of what religion do you practice, when they're kind of more in a face-to-face, and they will be with them longer than the kind of phone call you have with them. So as long as the bits in yellow are complete and you've got as much detail as possible, anything that may be needed can be collected by the coach when they're on their service.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, down here as well, we have the acceptance to take part in the program. And this should always be as yes. When the service user is referred, or when they have referred themselves to the program, or the referral has come from the individual's GP or healthcare provider, please always make sure this is as yes. And that kind of is done. What we have, the information that we need to fill in. Anything that's left blank, that's absolutely fine. So we'll just click on next. Second. I run into an issue on my side. Hopefully it works better for you. If you guys can just save from your side, and I'll see if I can just fix from my side. 1 second. I'm gonna have to give it another try on my side because UAT is giving me a little bit of issues, but that's fine. I'll give it another go.
Just while it's still reloading for you, I just wanted to check, would we be given like a check sheet of everything that we will need to ask, not a script per se, but like a check sheet, because you've got a lot more boxes than we used to have.
Yeah. No, that makes absolutely sense. Kieran, do you know the answer? I know it will be on the referral form and things like that,
Yeah,
but
so it'll be on the referral form. It's on the guidance that's been put together as well, so that'll get released kind of after the training for it. And I believe there's going to be something called a zinc tree script as well, which kind of goes through in terms of asking the questions and everything as well. So there's lots of kind of things in place to make sure that every service user, participant, we've got that many different names for different kind of people who join different contracts, that every service user will get the same identical kind of support and questions coming into the program, so everyone's at the same point when they're at the initial meeting with their health coach.
Perfect.
sorry, everyone, it's giving me a little bit of issues. I'm not sure why. I love when Orion doesn't work for me. It's so great.
I ticked the button. I've already forgot what it's called, create or save, and it's gone through to the next page.
Perfect.
Yeah, same.
That gives it a lot easier for me. Does it has it gone through for all of you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
same to me. It did.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
Me too,
really,
yeah.
really good. So let me just see if I can get it to work from my side. Otherwise, we'll have to work around it. All right, so it's
Sorry, 1
not
second.
working from my side. So I'm gonna have to do, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do death by PowerPoint a little bit. I do apologize. Hopefully I can get it sorted kind of during the break that I'll give you guys in a bit. But right now, just so we can continue with the session, I'm just gonna do death by PowerPoint a little bit. I hope that's okay with everyone.
Just going to quickly see if I can create it for you
Yeah,
on mine
please.
that you can
I don't know
use.
why it's not working for me. It just doesn't want to create it. I was trying different name and everything and just didn't want to. So if you could try from your side, Kieran, would be great. And I'll just do death by PowerPoint a little bit while Kieran tries to sort that out for me. As you can see, Orion isn't perfect. It does have its issues sometimes, even when you kind of do everything right. It does have its issues. I know that's kind of every system, unfortunately, but yeah, it's just the way it is sometimes, isn't it? All right, so we'll move on to uploading a referral form. So this is kind of the next step that you will be doing. So hopefully this is the kind of screen that you see in front of you now. You'll be able to see all the tabs and everything at the top, and you'll be able to see all the information on the participant that you have created.
Just a quick one, Felicia. Bugs
Yeah.
Bunny is created on Move More for you.
Ah, amazing. They did that so fast. Let's see if I can search him up then. Oh, perfect. Amazing. Thank you so much, Kieran. And there we go. So I'll share my screen again so we do not have to do death by PowerPoint. That has always been one of my things. I hate it. I really hate when it's death by PowerPoint because it just disengages the whole session. Is awful. Just such a, yeah, don't like it. Anyway, this is what you hopefully are seeing. So you can see all your information about Bugs Bunny, hopefully. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Documents tab, and this is where you'll upload the referral form. So it will go under the document type right here. You can see the drop down isn't working currently, but in the drop down on the live system, you will have a drop down where it's called referral document. So that is kind of the drop down that you will choose. And of course, you'll choose the file as well that you want to upload. So I'm just going to choose a random one. And we'll open that. And you'll upload that. So you see that it kind of wants the drop down as well. But just know that this is where you'll be able to upload the document. I'm hoping you guys have the same issue as me where the drop down is not working. Yeah. I see some nodding from Roxanne, so I'm going to assume that's the case.
I think it is
I think I'm having the same problem. I can't seem to see the document. Yeah, I can only see that it's saved, but I can't see anything else. I mean, it says, like, when I click on save, it says successfully saved, but
yeah,
nothing. Do I need to? Yeah.
Having the same issue, so that's good. But that is because we are on the UAT system. So basically they haven't done all the IT thingies, all the system thingies that they need to do. So like certain drop downs will not work because we are on the UAT system. But then when we are on the live system, all the drop downs will work and you'll be able to run it the way it's supposed to run. But my goal is to kind of make sure you guys know where it is that you need to go, if that makes sense. And then, like I mentioned, you will have access to the guidance and the like presentation as well. And what I'll do after this session as well is I will just book in like a 15-minute meeting with all of you, just so you can ask any questions that you want, or just so I can make sure that everything is running kind of smoothly for you. And I'll force Kieran onto that meeting as well, just to have a quick catch up as well. Does that work for everyone? Just to, have that little catch up and make sure everything is working.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And just so you guys know, it'll probably be after Christmas, if that works with everybody, just so we kind of set ourselves up for a good new year. And also because I want to make sure you guys get some time to play around on the system as well. So if it works for everyone, I'll probably do it the first week of January. So maybe on the 2nd or 3rd, I'll try and book in that 10 to 15-minute meeting with all of you.
I'm on annual leave until the second week of Jan.
No problem.
Unfortunately.
That is absolutely fine. So I'll just book in the week after with yourself, just to make sure we have everyone booked in. All right. So let's continue. So the next thing we're going to try and do on the system is changing the program type. So in the event that the service user record has been created under a specific program type, which is the individual would now like to change, so they would like to be on a new one, what you should do is just create a new member record. And the same process that we did to create this record should be followed, but on a different program. Does that make sense for everybody? So basically you'll create the same one, but on a different program. So you know how we chose Move More? You'll do the same participant, but for a different program. Does that make sense? Yeah? Very good.
Sorry, do you mean like you recreate the client again from scratch, or you can assign another program to their already?
So you recreate him from scratch. So you do him completely from scratch, but under a new program.
Yeah, I get you. Okay.
What the system will do is, as soon as it recognises that the participant has got the same first name, last name, date of birth, or NHS number, if you've got it, it will say, oh, there is already somebody in this type. Is this an error, or are you wanting to create them for a new program? If you click confirm for the new program, it will automatically pull all the data across from it, because it recognises that it's a person already in the system anyway. So it's not as if you have to kind of refill everything in every time, because if a service user wants to do every single program, I understand that you'd be, I've got to create this person 7 times over and input everything. No, it's just the once and it gets ported over.
Perfect.
All right, very good. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes, thank you.
Very good, no problem. All right, so I am going to give you guys I was going to say 5 7-minute break. So if you all can be back at 10:55, please, just so I don't mush your brains too much. So 10:55, and please be back on time. And yeah, go and do whatever you need to do. And I'll see you soon. All right, see you soon. Hello. Very good. We'll see who is back on time. It's just, oh, Kieran, Roxanne, very good. Lorna, only one left. Ah, perfect. Very good. Everyone is back on time. Perfect. All right. So just a little bit of a check-in. Everyone good so far? Everyone following along, understanding the training? I'm not going too fast, am I? Is it okay? Yeah? Cool. Very good. Kieran, you good as well? Just checking in on you. Look a bit sad. Very good.
It's just
All
Monday.
right.
I'll cheer up as
Oh
the week
God,
goes
I
on.
know. You know, at least it's only 1 week. Just this week, and then we're off for Christmas. Is great. I'm gonna be off for like 2 weeks, so I'm happy.
Yeah, same as well.
Oh,
I
it's so
can't wait for
nice,
this
isn't
week
it?
to be over.
Oh, it's so nice. Like that
Right.
time where like there's just nothingness between like
Yes,
Christmas and New Year's. Oh, I love those days. Whereas like just dates are not
absolutely. Yeah,
non-existent.
yeah, no, definitely.
Oh, I just love it. Oh, it's great. So, can you all see my screen? Very good. So, just with contacting the service user. So, PSS, which is you guys, should make 3 attempts to contact the service user within 28 days of receiving the referral. So the next thing that we're going to go into is kind of booking the initial call that you'll have with the service user and kind of how to log those attempts in the system where you've tried to contact the participant or where you've have contacted the participant and either it's been successful or not successful, or you've received a text message or an email, or you've sent an email. So that's kind of the next part that we're going to go into. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is kind of booking the initial call. So obviously we've tried, we've done our participant, we've created them, we've tried to upload the referral form, at least we all know how it works. So the next thing that we're going to do is booking that initial call. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to read interviews. So the tab right here, read interviews. And then what you're going to do is book an interview. And I know it's called an interview, but what it is you're really booking an appointment. It's just called an interview on the Orion system because there's like multiple different programs on Orion, and you know, like interviews apparently what they decided to use instead of appointment, but you are booking an appointment. So, because usually I get questions like, oh, why does it say interview? It just does on Orion, but it is an appointment that you're booking. So, location, you have the option of face-to-face or remote. Of course, we're going to choose remote on this one. And then you can have kind of the interview type and here as well, but we are going to choose the initial. And then you get to choose the date as well. So I'm going to try not choose over Christmas. So I'm going to try and do the 18th. And I will do from 10 to 10. Kieran, can you remind me how long the initial calls should be? It's around 15 minutes, isn't it?
I think it's either 15 minutes or 30 minutes. I can't remember what was agreed by service delivery, but it's I know it's been in other areas of training. I think it's 15. But if we can go half an hour for this,
we'll
obviously
do half an hour.
at the start, as you kind of probably knew when you was learning the system at Thrive Tribe, you probably did have a little longer to start with until you got familiar with kind of the call process, the system, and then you'd kind of dwindled down the time yourself naturally anyway. So
yeah, you kind of learn how much time you need. But we're going to do just half an hour to book that in. You can pick a date and time from diary as well. I just find it easier to do it this way because it's just all in one place, if that makes sense. But when you have done all the information, you're just going to click on save, and it'll confirm that your interview has been booked successfully. You can print a letter and send to them that, oh, I booked your appointment, but usually you don't need to do that. And you can also email them like, oh, it's been booked on this and this date, basically. But we'll do continue. And now you will be able to see when that kind of appointment is. You'll also see that you don't know the attendance yet on here. Obviously, the interview will be yourself. You can see the location, what type it is, and when it starts and ends, and on what date as well.
So just, sorry, excuse me, just on the, if you do email the letter out to the participant, it comes from Orion, so it'll automatically send from Orion to the email address that's on the system. So it saves you then having to open up your emails, manually type in, or use a kind of a script to then replace name and data on it. It will automatically pull it all from Orion and send it out for you on that. So it might help if you're struggling to engage with a participant, you've tried a service user, sorry, you've tried a couple of attempts, not got through. There's that option as well where you can send a few more communications so they're expecting the call rather than anything else. They do get text reminders as well, so I'm pretty sure the day before any meeting is booked, a automatic text reminder will come out from Orion to say, hey, you've got a telephone call with Eloy tomorrow, or an advisor tomorrow at this time, just so they will be aware of it. It's not a case of the call will always be out of the blue for them. They will have had some sort of reminder or notification.
Very good.
Sorry, just a question on that.
Yeah, go for it.
With the automatic emails, sorry, is it fully populated? Like, is everything already written, or do we need to change anything? I don't know if I missed that when you said it.
It should be, if you had just to show, Felicia, just if you click on email letter, it'll show you what comes up.
Oh, it doesn't want to do you have an, can you do in the live one?
Let me quickly
log in. Because it doesn't have the email template on this specific one in the UAT system.
Yeah, let me just open it up. I'll get that up in a second, but yeah, it's all populated.
Okay, so we don't need to change anything.
No. Shouldn't do, at least.
Okay.
Miriam?
You know, when you said that it's just basically a follow-up from Roxanne's question, does it say what company they are receiving the email from? Because you said that it will be sent from Orion. Does it say read on it? So I'm just thinking, does it, so it doesn't confuse the
No, it should do. It should say that it's from Reed. Yeah,
Okay,
I don't believe it said. I'm not sure, Kira. You might have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it says your name, but it will say what company like it is from. But I'm not sure if it says their names. Kieran, you can maybe confirm that.
I think so. I'm just loading up one now. As soon as I've got one, I'll quickly share my screen.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Very good.
And just to clarify, so booking an interview is how you book calls or conversations with the client.
Yes.
What about the bookings themselves? So to the actual coaches, would it be in the same place?
Yeah, we will go into that. Don't worry. It's slightly different than what I've showed you, but don't worry, we will go into that as well. Very good.
So
sorry, there we go, Kieran.
Quickly share mine. So I know the state, I'm not obviously going to press save because it will then send it out, but you can see it will then, even though it sends from Orion, it will have it from your email address because it's coming from your account. So they'll know who sent it. It'll go to their email address on the system. The subject again will automatically be populated, and it will then say next appointment with your advisor, where it is, and it'll have what is on your
email signature.
Email signature. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you on your signature then put reading partnership, that will be on there. Just on mine, I don't have the company name on mine, but you can then. Oh no, it's automatic. You can't type on it, so it is a locked one on it.
Template.
That pulls up. So yeah, it literally is a case of pull it up, press save, and it will then queue up to send. So it won't send it automatically. I think what it'll do is it adds to a queue, and it will then send it towards the end of the day, or it's at specific times during the day when it's sent. So, but yeah, everything's populated. You don't have to mess around with then typing it all up and everything like that. But they are generic templates for whichever kind of meeting type it's associated to.
One thing I want to mention as well, with booking interviews, it's slightly different, but you do have let me show you in the system. You do have a diary in Orion, but one thing to mention is that your diary in Orion does not link with the one in Outlook, if that makes sense. So they do not link. So if you book an appointment in Orion, you also have to book it in your Outlook, if that makes sense, because they don't link. So like when you book in Orion, it won't automatically book it in Outlook. So that's a thing to remember. Oh, you've been put on hold. Oh, there you go. You're back. Just to know, Lorna, I just said that in Orion, you have your diary in Orion, but that does not link with your diary in Outlook. So if you book an appointment in Orion, it will not automatically book it in Outlook. So you have to do that separately. So book that in separately in your Outlook calendar. Does that make sense? I know it would be better if they linked automatically, but unfortunately. All right, everyone ready for the next part? Yeah, I see some nods, so that's good. All right, so I'll just show you this slide. So booking additional calls following a did not attend. So for example, you called the service user, but they didn't pick up. You couldn't get a hold of them. If that is the case, PSS should book a second and a third contact attempt on Orion through the interview tab, like we did previously, and you should just select, book interview like you did and put in all the information again. So all the attempts to contact the service user, whether they're successful or if they're unsuccessful, they should all be logged on Orion. All right, and that is just so we have a record of it, and so we can look back on it. So whether, if during audit we can see, oh, we tried to contact this participant this many times, or it could be, oh, we only contacted them once. Why is that? So we can look back on that record. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, I see some nods, so good. All right. So the next thing that we're going to go through is conducting the brief assessment or brief assessment questionnaire, and kind of where to find that in the system. So during a successful, yeah, go on.
Sorry, Felicia.
No worries.
If you do call someone and they don't pick up,
Yeah.
is there any way that you can change the status of the call to log that information that they didn't pick up?
Yeah, so that's what we're going to go through after. So afterwards, I'm going to show like how you can log a telephone call and it wasn't successful, and like how you can add a note like, oh, I tried to call the participant, but they didn't pick up. I'm going to try and call again at, I don't know, blah, 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 date or time. So we will go through that as well, because that's slightly different than booking in an interview. So this is mostly if like you've booked an appointment already and they're not able to pick up, but it's different if you've like just want to make a phone call to them and they're not able to pick up, because that doesn't like classify as like an appointment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. So during a successful phone call attempt, PSS should provide an overview of the service, and once confirmed, which program the service user would like to engage in. So the brief assessment questionnaire is the next thing we're going to go into. So you have the tab right up here, and you're going to go to questionnaires right here. And here you can see that you have kind of multiple different drop downs. You just want to make sure you have the correct one chosen. So just make sure you have the brief assessment questionnaire chosen right in there. And once you have that chosen in the drop down, you're going to launch new questionnaire. And you say is of type. I just click the launch new questionnaire. And here you can see that it pops up. So you can see we have the mandatory information that we've already put in here. And then you can see you have the things that you do need to put in as well. So you can see you have the first language, whether you need translation support, if they're pregnant or if they're currently breastfeeding. So I'll give you a moment to kind of look through all the information on here before we move on. And once you feel like you've had a look through, you can just put a little X in the chat for me so I know that you've looked through. All right.
Sorry, just a question. So
yeah.
Once you put in the MRF stage 2 brief assessment questionnaire.
Mhm.
What then do you click to get on the page
So
that
right
you've...
next to it, it's like a hyperlink that says launch new questionnaire. So you click on that. So it's not like a button, if that makes sense. You just click on the hyperlink.
That's what I was missing. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
So have a look through the questionnaire, and when you feel like you've had a good look through, just put a little X in the chat for me.
So
Or you can try and fill it out as well. Yeah, go on, Kieran.
Yeah, sorry, Felicia, just a quick one to note that if they are on the smoking program, it won't be the MRF stage 2 brief questionnaire. It will then just be the brief assessment questionnaire. So MRF is the multiple risk factors. So it's all the other programs bar smoking pretty much. You'll know that kind of at the start because the questionnaire will then, the kind of latter bit will only be smoking as the kind of option. So how many cigarettes do you smoke a day? What kind of products do you use? Whereas the MRF one will have all the questions covering all the criteria. So in terms of physical activity, lifestyle, healthy eating. So you just might have to look which one. It should automatically be assigned. So when the participant has picked smoking, it shouldn't let you do the MRF brief assessment too. But obviously when you do your first one, if you're expecting to look for the MRF assessment and it's not there, I just don't want you worrying that it's lost. It's just a different assessment for the smoking one.
Yeah, I selected my client as being a smoker, so I've got to wanting to do the smoking course.
Yeah.
So that's what I've got up at the moment.
Yeah.
And can I ask quickly, guys, like only some of the questions are mandatory. Do you have to answer as many of these things as you can, or just the mandatory ones?
Yes. So answer is with the participant, obviously, you should answer as much of these as you can. Obviously, if they don't want to answer and it's not a mandatory question, that's fine. But take all of them basically as mandatory questions, if that makes sense. So all of them should be answered to the best of yours and the participant's ability, basically.
Perfect.
Sorry, this might be a silly question.
Yeah.
What does care leaver mean? It says, are you a care leaver?
Kieran, do you want to specify?
And then the next one is, do you consider yourself to be a carer? So that's like,
yeah,
that I understand, but I don't know care.
Yeah, they're linked to the same. So basically, are you a carer for someone? And a care leaver is someone who I think it's more for young persons, where they been in the care of local authority. So whether they've been taken in by social services or anything like that. Previously,
and they've recently left or something.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it's if they, I'm sure it's around 16. So if they've been in care or they've been in the care of a local authority, I think over the age of 16. But they'll know if they are classed as a care leaver or not. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And then just to add as well, before you all save it, don't save yet. But once you're done and once you've looked through the question, put your little X in the chat. I just want to show you how you kind of close off and save it properly. All right. So don't do it yet. Just once you've had to look through all the questions and everything and put your X in the chat, then I'll show you how to do that. Good. Hopefully you should all see my screen again as well. Very nice. Lorna, Eloy, I can see you finished the question. Do they seem relatively easy or good? Like, what do you think of them so far?
Yeah, it's it's very similar to what we used to do. The questionnaires were covered by the coaches in the previous role, so that will prolong the conversation we have with the client, but it's pretty straightforward regardless. Yeah, anyone else notice anything that stands out?
Smoking side of it, a few of them are the same questions we were asking. Some are ones the stop smoking advice similar.
Yeah. Very good.
Sorry, I'm just about to finish it now.
No problem. No problem. We have time, so that's absolutely fine.
I like how thorough it is. It's nice.
Yeah.
We'll see how clients like it.
Yeah.
What I'll quickly do, sorry Felicia, I'll have to reshare after, is just share my
go for it.
screen
Yeah.
for everyone else other than Lorna. Just show them the smoking questions, just because obviously Lorna has seen it on there. So the top bit again is kind of the same. The health is the same, and then you've just got the smoking bit. So the questionnaire for smoking is shorter than all the others. So smoking is probably easier in that respect, but just so you're aware of what it looks like. I don't want it to be a case of the first one you do is on the live one, and you're having to read the questions for the first time, as well as then asking them to the participant.
You will have an opportunity to kind of play around in the system as well. So you'll be able to kind of go through, well, like create your participant on different programs, if that makes sense. Like you'll be able to create multiple participants on the UAT system. So you'll be able to look at all the questionnaires as well. All right. Miriam, you good as well?
Yeah, I do have a question. I think I missed a point somewhere when you guys were mentioning about these questions, because I've never made a call, so I'm a bit like, unsure. So if the referral is, for example, for the stop smoking, who basically is willing to stop smoking, do we have to fill in all of these information, or does it apply for both? Wanting to join a healthy lifestyle program and stop smoking, like how do we have to go through all these questions with all clients?
So
I'm sure you mentioned that at some point, but I think I missed it. I'm so sorry about that if I did.
If it's a smoking, it will
Yeah.
have its own separate questionnaire, which is the one I just shared my screen. If it's any of the other programs, it will be the generic one, because what you'll kind of find with smoking is it doesn't really link to anything else in terms of the kind of the risk factors it possesses, whereas everything else kind of can link together towards the same issue. And you'll probably find that if someone is on the physical support in terms of move more, they may be also wanting to get support with healthy eating and healthy lifestyle. So very much transferable, and they might complete one and then move straight on to the next. Whereas with the smoking, we find it often it's its own little bracket, and smoking is the biggest issue for them. There may be other ones they can still move on to, but that's why we kind of split them between multiple risk factor, or MRF, and then smoking as a separate one.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
It's all right.
No problem. So is everyone down here at the same spot that I am now? You haven't closed or anything like that, hopefully. So once you are done with the questionnaire, it's very, very important that you save it properly. So like it's closed, if that makes sense. Like it's saved and you can't really change it. So from the questionnaire status, you just need to move it to completed from the drop down. So move it from open to completed, and then you can save it. So that has now been saved. You can see last action and who was created by, and the status is completed. So even if you have completed the questionnaire, you still can look back on it. You just can't change it. So if I click on the ID, well, you can still change it, but you shouldn't change it. You can still have a look through it, and you can see everything but you just need to make sure that it is completed and then save. All right.
If we didn't manage to capture all of the information, would we still save it before moving on, or?
You'd still save it. You just don't need to put it as completed, because obviously you'd book more time in to actually complete it. If it is as complete as you think you're going to get it, so let's say you ran out of time, you wouldn't close the questionnaire. But if you didn't run out of time and you just want more time with the participant and book in another 15 minutes or however long, you wouldn't close it. You would just leave it as open and then close it.
Okay.
And if it's a case kind of just extending on that question, the participant doesn't particularly want to answer much and would rather do it with the kind of coach that they are going to, you can add then a note onto the file, or even, because we're going to show you as well how to book it into a specific diary for whoever you're going to assign it to for them to be their work coach, health coach, sorry. You can then even just drop them a message on Teams as well, just explaining the rationale behind it, of attempted to get as much information, but the service user was a bit difficult, or just would rather have answered these questions with you face to face or whatever. So I've done as much as the assessment as I can, but you may need to complete it with the service user. The training that we've rolled out to the kind of health coaches, they know that before they even have this meeting, they will open the file and they will review the brief assessment anyway as well. So if they notice it's not completed, they may then just come back and say, right, okay, it was last action by yourself, Lorna, but it's not completed. They may then drop you a message as to why, if you've not messaged them, saying, oh, is there a reason why? There will be a good reason. So it's not going to be a case of it's going to get done and then ignored and then picked up on an audit 2 months down the line as to why it's not been done.
No, it's just more of, say someone was out at the shops, they don't mind answering a couple questions, and then they were like, oh, no, and they're booked in 2 days later with the advisor. With the health coach, would they just pick up the last bits of it, or?
No, that's absolutely fine. And like Kieran said, you'll be able to get a hold of them. Like on Teams, if you search for someone's name, you'll be able to find everybody. And so like if you're looking for me or Kieran, or like basically everyone in Reed, regardless of what program they're on, you'll be able to find in Teams. That goes for HR, your manager, like everyone you'll be able to find by just looking up the name. Like I've even messaged the wrong people before on Teams because all the programs are on there, and I just search on the first, they would just send the message, right? So be a little bit aware of that, but yeah, you can reach everyone on there. All right, let's continue.
Just a quick question.
Yeah, of course.
There's the MRF Stage 2 brief assessment questionnaire, which is the full one. If I can't see the stop smoking specific one, is that because I didn't choose stop smoking as a pathway?
Yes.
It is.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So like if they wanted to do both, you'd have to add that participant onto that specific program, and then you, like Kieran mentioned before, they'll kind of mesh together both those profiles, and then you'd be able to see that questionnaire.
Perfect, just to be sure.
Normally, so one thing, more of a tip, if you want to call it, when you get the referral document through, and the form, it should kind of associate what programs they want to go on. And if it's a case they've selected multiple, it might be worth, before creating the account, is just giving a quick ad hoc call to the person, introducing yourself as well, but then just finding out which one they want to go on to first, or which they think is their priority area. Because you could then get all this way, organize the call, and like you said, if you've put them down as an MRF one and they say, well, I think I'm smoking 40 cigarettes a day, I really want to get this done, because then I can then start to look at being more physically active. I know then it'll help my stress, as an example. I want to do smoking first. It saves you the time on that call to then think, right, I've then got to recreate them. Whereas with that quick call, ad hoc can just say, right, okay, I'll set you up on a smoking one. This is when I'll book our call in. We can have some proper time and I can ask you some questions and get some more details about yourself, if that's all right.
All right, very good. So the next thing that we're going to go through is just service users under 13. So PSS should ensure that a parent or guardian of service users under 13 is present on that initial call. And that is just to provide the verbal consent for the young person to join the program and to proceed then with the brief assessment questionnaire. So to do that, we need to go to the membership tab. And from down here, you're going to find kind of a, what's it called? Like a tab where it says acceptance to take part of the program. Of course, we have chosen that as yes, but we need to make sure that that is kind of put in here again, just to make sure it's selected. And then we're also going to choose the data protection up in here. So a consent form should be emailed to the service user following completion of that initial call. And that form is located on SharePoint. I'm sure Kieran can... Is it available, Kieran? Are you able to show it or not yet? It will be available if it's not.
It will be available, yeah. I think it'll come from the service delivery design. So have you had training with someone called Jack, Danny, or Jazz yet?
I can't see if they're nodding or not because I don't have that screen up.
we had training with Jazz
on the very first day. So
yeah. So it may I'll chase them down, see if everything is ready in terms of the documents of where they'll be centralized for everybody, and can get them kind of shared out to you. But yeah, you'll run through it. Just quickly to note to add, in terms of the 12 to 17-year-olds, that is only for the smoking program.
Yes.
And normally it's either come from a self-referral / a parent's found out they are smoking and wants them to stop, or through the NHS, where you'll get them referrals for that.
And sorry, just where we've ended up here now.
Yeah.
Because you said that this will be for the 13s, basically for a child, but will we have already completed what we just done by the time we get here, or this is instead of? Like, this is the beginning stage if we're speaking on the phone to an under 13 or their parent.
Well, you should be able to see like their age on the referral, right, Kieran?
Mm-hmm.
Like it should be confirmed. So you should be, this is more that we go back and this is like you do this before.
Instead of what we just did. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That's right, Kieran, isn't it? Just double check. I believe that's right.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
no problem.
I'm sure on the website as well, when they're making the referrals, the privacy policy is available. So they all should have access to that before the referral is made as well. So they should be aware of, we are going to make sure we get consent as well during this initial call. So it shouldn't be a surprise to them in that respect.
Yeah. Just to add as well, like you should obviously inform the parent or guardian to read the privacy policy if they haven't. And terms and conditions. It will be emailed to them, or you will have availability to email them that as well after the call, and to contact the data protection inbox if they wish to kind of opt out of that service. But obviously, if it's been signed and they understand it, it should be signed in here as well. So we need to make sure we have that change. And once we have,
how can we see if it's been signed or not? So the data protection document that they're sent, how do we know when it's been signed to update this? Or will this be the coach?
So you can do it on the call, and it should be a case of emailing its verbal consent. And then can get the document then back in. So when the health coach is doing the meeting, they should then get the form and upload it. But for the kind of the bit, if they can't, obviously you're going to be remote, you just get the verbal consent and just confirm it.
Okay.
But the email then has to kind of go out to show that you've sent them the form, so they at least have it somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Once you have that saved, or if you ever change any information in here for whatever reason, you should click on save, and you'll get that it's been updated successfully and that's been saved. All right. The next thing we're going to go into is kind of booking the service users onto their next appointment. So service users should now be booked into the kind of starting out session, and this is with the health and well-being coach. And obviously this can be face-to-face or it can be remote, and should be agreed with the service user on the call, like kind of what option they want to do, like what their preference is. So that's what we're going to do next. So instead of going to read interviews, we're actually going to go to our diary here on the left-hand side, and you're going to choose My Diary. So from in here, you can see that this is the page that you have now. You can see the day. You can also change it to the week, and you can change it to the period in here if you want to do that as well. Takes a moment for it to load, apparently. There we go. You have the period in here as well. But now you're actually going to book that into someone else's diary. So this is when you're going to book it into the health coach's diary. So from in here, you're going to choose the program. I'm currently on the Move More program, so I'll choose that. And here you can choose the team as well. And you can choose the user. So you can see I have Miriam in here already. And I have a bunch more users in here. So I'm going to actually book it into Kieran's diary, and then he can confirm that that has been booked in. So you can see that I have that information, and I'm going to click on View. And this is now Kieran's diary that I am in on. So you can see that this is Kieran's diary. And this is where I will be able to book in a, well, interview for him, basically. So you can see we have the event type in here. Oops, sorry, 1 second. I think it might have been the wrong one. Oh, sorry. No, so you can see in Kieran's diary, and basically they should have slots that are available. So from my understanding, Kieran, say if I'm wrong, but you should have slots in your diary where you can book those interviews from, so you can see the time and date. So you can see that I see Kieran's diary right now, right? So this is where you'll be able to see, okay, Kieran has this and this time available, but because he hasn't booked that time in because he's not a health coach, it will look similar to this, but I can't remember what it's actually called. Do you remember, Kieran, what it's called specifically, the times that are available? Like what they'll actually see? Oh, you're not on mute, but I can't hear you if you're saying something, Kieran.
Yeah, I'm just doing it now, so you'll be able to see it on the screen.
Perfect.
I'm just seeing which one it's called. I think it is for just open for meetings.
Yeah, I believe
but
it
once
is
it's
as well.
done, I'll let you know.
No
Available
problem.
for interview, sorry, is the wording.
Available for interviews. There you go. Yeah, we'll probably be able to see it in here. Yeah, so I can book it from mine. For example, you can see that it's called available for interviews. And basically when you open Kieran's, well, as an example, Kieran's diary, you can see, okay, he has availability. Yeah, Kieran, did you want to say something?
Yeah, so if you just refresh it, it should let you then see that today I'm available for interviews from 11 till 3.
So there you go. You can see available for interviews from 11 to 3 o'clock. So now we know, okay, that is the time that Kieran is available. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our member or our service user. So I'm going to click on Recent Members, and I'm just going to go into my service user in here. Book a read interview. Do the location. So in this case, I'm going to do remote again. But for the advisor, obviously, it's not going to be with myself. It's going to be, I'm going to book it into Kieran's diary. We're going to do the interview type from in here. We'll do a 4-week. No, drop in. And then can you remind me of the date, Kieran?
It's just today. Sorry, I've just opened it for today.
Oh, today. So we'll do from 1 to 2. There we go. And once it is all booked in, we'll save that. And that interview and that appointment has now been saved. But like I said, not in our diary. It's been saved in Kieran's diary. But you will be able to confirm that you've booked it, because you'll be able to see that, oh, okay, this participant has now booked or been booked into that appointment with this person. Does that make sense? And then hopefully Kieran can confirm from his side that it's been booked into his diary.
Yeah, let's refresh it. Sorry, just on whilst I'm doing that, I have sent a link in to where the privacy policies are all kept. So it should be on the Zingtree scripts you use, but if you're having struggles or you just want it quickly to hand, that is the link that'll take you to all the privacy policies on the actual OneU website.
I also just wanted to show you here as well, when you're in the live system, you'll have a lot more drop-down options. So as you can see there, this interview type, you'll have a lot more options that you can book in with the participant. It's just because we are in the UAT system, you don't have as many options, if that makes sense.
I'm sorry, just to confirm, because you selected drop-in before.
Yeah.
Would that fall under a follow-up?
So you have the option of follow-up. It's just I chose, it was a bad option. I chose drop-in, but you do have follow-up in here.
Ours would probably be initials because we're
Yeah.
booking them in for the first. And I was going to ask, do you know how long the initials are for this? Is it the same for all the services? So, for example, stop smoking in our previous place was shorter than a weight loss interview.
I believe for the start it'll be all the same again till they've everyone's got used to the system of it, and then it'll just get confirmed by the the management side of that side of how long they would want the meetings to be booked in. I think just have that relationship with the management and the actual health coaches. Just initially, you don't want to make it so they're rushing too much on the brand new system, and that's an hour should be more than enough time. But I think just have that kind of communication relationship and see what is ideal for them at especially the beginning bit until they've got comfortable with the system.
Once they're more established. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
No worries, thank you.
All right. Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, so on the calendar where you could see Kieran is available from so and so time, will it then split it with bookings? So you'll be able to see if he's booked within a certain hour of that time?
It should be, yeah. So you can see Kieran has just put in the chat. So you can see available for interviews, but then down under it, you can see that Bugs Bunny has been put in for 1 to 2. In the screenshot in the chat. So that's kind of how it will look. So you kind of have to make your own assumption unless Kieran changes it in his diary that, oh, okay, Bugs Bunny booked in for this time.
But if, for example, there's another person, so it's not the one that you're looking into, because you won't be able to see other people booked into Kieran's, if that makes sense. So if you're on the Bugs Bunny page and you can see that Bugs Bunny has been booked from 1 to 2, how do I know that someone else hasn't been booked in from 1 to 2 before I make this booking?
I think you have access to his calendar at the same time before you book. Am I correct?
Yeah, and it should also stop you doing it. So I'll quickly do it with another member to show you the error message that comes up. I'm sure it just confirms that there is another meeting booked at this time. So if it's a case of you view the diary and confirmed, right, they're free 12 till 1, and then in the time it's then taking you to then go and book it, a meeting has been booked, it should pop up and say, there is a clash. Do you wish to continue? And that's where you'll probably put no, and then come back and have a look at the time.
Is as well, because in the system they're like, it's more like IT based, I guess, but they're basically in the system they're labeled as different things. So because Kieran has put in available through interviews, that'll be kind of the slotted time where the system knows, okay, he's available at this time. But if something gets booked in at that time, that's kind of a different trigger in the system, if that makes sense. So that's why you'll get that error message.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'll just quickly share my screen. So I've attempted to book a different participant in at 1 or 2 o'clock where I've already got that. And then it does say that there is already an interview booked at this time. Is that correct? So you can double book them. I wouldn't advise it because you probably get some unhappy coaches, but it does give the prompt if there is going to be a clash, the system will let you know there is going to be a clash.
Perfect.
I believe as well, if you try and book it outside of that available slot, it'll give you an error message as well.
Yeah, I think you'll have
so.
You'll have to try it though, because if I'm booking it into my own diary,
Yeah.
it will that error message won't pop up. I have
Yeah.
the authority over that. But if Felicia would then try and book it outside of that available for interview slot, an error message should pop up to say there's no time available.
Yeah. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yep.
Very good. So the next thing that we're going to go into is kind of recording an attendance. So whether they have actually attended whatever appointment you have booked in, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use my initial right here that I booked in for the 18th. I know it's set in the future, but you can still change it. So for the initial, what we are going to do, I'm going to click on the date of the appointment. So nothing else on here, just the date of the appointment. And from in here, you can see you have a drop down where you have kind of multiple different options. So you can have failed to attend, member canceled, failed to participate. You won't use that one really. What you'll probably use most is that you'll be attended, canceled, or whatever else it might be. But I will do that they have attended on this one. So once that has been saved, you will just click on save down here, and you'll see the next interview has not been booked. Do you wish to continue? And we'll just say okay. That is more as a reminder for other programs and not specific to this program, if that makes sense, because we have multiple ones on Orion where they have to attend during a certain time. So that's mostly what that's for.
And just on that error message, you can see that there is another meeting, but Felicia's closed a future one. So what it's saying is from that meeting you're closing, there isn't another one past that point. Obviously, if it was a case that the dates were the other way around and Felicia was closing the one on the 16th, the system would recognise that there's another appointment on the 18th, so that error message wouldn't pop up. However, if it's a case of it's just a completely irrelevant meeting, the error message wouldn't pop up as well. So if it's just a drop-in and you were needing to book it as an initial in a advisor's diary, it wouldn't then say, oh, there is no initial meeting booked. It would just recognize that there is a future meeting. So you may just have to be kind of cautious on the meeting type. But if you just go back, Felicia, to the read interview page, it does show you, if you scroll down, the next booked interview. So it does show you if there is one booked in there, what the date and time for the next interview and interview type is. So you can see that at first glance, you're not having to go through pages to see, oh, is there another interview booked? Yes, it's this one, and go back. It should all be displayed on one page for you.
Very good. And then just to confirm as well, Kieran, I don't know if we're doing it differently on this program or not, but just so we confirm that if you've booked in an appointment and they're not able to attend and they would like to change that appointment to a different time or a different date, I know what we do in other programs is that we keep that appointment, but we just put it as canceled, and then we book in a new appointment for whatever date and time that they want, rather than changing the appointment you've already put in. And that's just so we have a record of, okay, we booked in this, they didn't attend, we booked in a new one, that's what they're going to plan to attend. Is that right, Kieran? We're doing the same thing on here?
Yeah, it's more for an audit trail. So if it's a case, for example, you get a phone call saying, hi, I've got a phone call today at 1:30, but I'll not be available till 1:45. Push that back and then just add a bit of a note saying meeting was pushed back 15 minutes, participant contacted. You can add a dialogue in there as well, which Felicia will show you, but make sure that's on the file. But if it's a case of they're wanting a different day or it's 6 hours later, you probably want that audit trail to show that this was the original one and this is where the new one is and why. So that it's more for that reason. But if it's normally say within half an hour of that meeting type, update the meeting. If it's further out than that, just create a new meeting one just for that audit trail purpose.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can I
Lorna?
ask one quick question?
Mm-hmm.
When we say someone does that and we cancel an appointment for 2 days in advance, does the system automatically make that appointment available again in the advisor's calendar
They
for
should be
someone
able
else to
to.
be booked into?
Yeah, they should be able to see it. So if you're just on that meeting on the 16th,
Yeah.
Felicia, you're right just to cancel it for that reason. And then I'll quickly show my one. I'll wait till Eloy's back though, just to show that if that's all right with everyone.
There we go. I'm
If
not
it's
gonna
okay,
book
I'm gonna
in.
run quickly as well, just for a minute.
It's everyone's jumping. Should we have a quick break at that
Yeah,
point?
we'll have a quick break then. So if I'll just do 2:55 again, so 11:55. Come back, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you in a bit.
See you shortly, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Well, almost everyone.
Hello.
You really took a break at perfect time. It was great.
I was trying to hold it in, but I started to dance in my chair, so I thought I've got to go now.
Hello.
It was literally like perfect timing because I was looking at my presentation. I was like, okay, the next like break in my presentation, I'm gonna give them a little bit of a recess, and then literally 2 minutes before you're like, I have to go. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. Everyone go. All right. Kieran, was there anything from your side? I think there was before the break, wasn't there?
It's just so that meeting that's booked in on today's, if you just cancel, just so I can then show what the availability looks like on my diary.
Yes. It's been cancelled from my side now.
All right, let me just quickly open mine up and then I'll share my screen.
I'm not sharing mine. No, I'm not. Okay, that's fine.
So you'll see the meeting has just completely disappeared. So on the actual participants file, your service users file, the meeting will show on there as cancelled, but in terms of the diary, you can see that the availability is now completely free for me.
I'll put a little snippet in the chat so you can see what it looks like from my side. Compare it with, well, Kieran doesn't have much to show, but from my side, you can see in the snippet that I put in the chat, that's what it looks like. So it's still in the participant's record. It's just not in Kieran's diary anymore.
Yeah.
Very good. Any questions before we move into kind of the next section? Share my screen.
No, just from me. So have you all seen Zingtree? So in terms of the documents and kind of how you will go through it, it's all through Zingtree. So just back to the kind of question you asked about the privacy policies and that, when you're going through, it'll give you the option if they're a 13 to 17-year-old or an under 13s. So if you just kind of follow that, it prompts everything for you as well.
Very good. So the next thing that we are going to go into is kind of recording contact attempts. So like we spoke about before, not having like an appointment booked in, but maybe you make a phone call to them or like an email has been sent out with some information or something like that, and how to actually record those in the system. Because like we said, they're different from booking in appointments. So if a successful or unsuccessful phone call attempt has been conducted, like we mentioned, this should always be documented in Orion, and this should be documented in the dialogue tab right here. So you can see that an email has been sent out when we did the template. So this is the template, even though we said it wasn't sent out, it was sent out. So this is kind of the welcome one, I believe. The welcome email, so we can see, oh, this one was sent out, and we can see that it was sent out kind of when we created the participant. But this is also where you are going to send out your emails from, or where you're going to log that, oh, it's been a phone call, or I tried to call them, they didn't pick up, or I did call them and they did pick up. So whether it's unsuccessful or successful, all of the contact attempts to the participant should be recorded in here. So in the dialogue tab, you're going to create a new dialogue down here. And from the drop down, you can see I only have email available, but in the live system, you'll have a lot more options. So you'll have a phone call, whether that was unsuccessful or successful. You'll have text message sent or received. You'll have email sent and email received. So you have all of these kind of different ones that you'll have available. So if I show you from my little presentation, you can see that you'll be able to choose the drop down, and you can see that I chose unsuccessful for this one. You'll also be able to add dialogue comments. So you can say that it was an unsuccessful attempt to conduct a welcome call, and that you've booked, gonna attempt it again at this date on this time. And then once that all the information is in, you can just save that. Does that make sense for everybody? I know it's a bit tricky when the drop down isn't working properly, but does it make sense? Yeah?
Sorry, I just have an issue with mine. I just
Yeah.
had accidentally clicked off of my client that I created, and when I went to search the client, the member, I can't find them now.
No, that's fine. If you want to click on recent members, you should be able to find him, hopefully.
Okay, there we go. Sorry.
Yeah, you found him?
Yeah, and then
Perfect.
so to open it, I'll just click on the membership ID, and then
Yes.
how do I get to where you are?
So once you're there, you just
Yep.
click on
Dialogue.
dialogue. Yeah.
So just a quick one. So on the dialogue, you'll only be showing email because if there's not a telephone number linked to the file,
Yep.
it won't let you attempt to make a telephone. So if Felicia just quickly adds a telephone number, it
was
might
a
be the
telephone
mobile
number.
one.
That's why I was confused.
Yeah, and save it should do it, but again, it is the UAT, so it may be a case of on the live one it's fine, but it should recognise if there's not a contact number. Yeah, it's just the UAT, but on the live one,
Yeah.
Once them fields are populated, it does give you the more option. Because we know there are like the email, for example, there might be some people who don't use email, so it won't let you queue up any emails for the participant.
Just give me 1 second to see if I can find an example of what the drop down looks like. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm using training from another program, so that's why. Just see if I can find the drop down with all the other options, hopefully.
Sorry, I keep forgetting I'm not. Can everyone see my screen?
Oh, did you share it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So this is on the
Oh,
live
there you go.
Orion,
Great.
and you can see how many different options there are available.
There you go.
And again, the ones that aren't linked to your contract won't be available. So notification from JCP, Pratt Record, they're linked to an employability contract, so they won't be on there. But you can see there is a large plethora of options available for you in terms of what you are creating a dialogue for.
Thank you for doing that, Kieran. Yeah, sometimes
That's
it's
right.
on the live system. It's just a lot easier because UAT isn't always updated to what it will look like, which is a bit annoying. But it depends on where the system developers are in the in the process of developing the program, if that makes sense. But yeah. Okay, so there we go. So let me just go here because this is where we are gonna do. Oh, I'm not showing my screen. Sorry, because Kieran took that privilege away from me. So now you should be able to see my screen again. There we go. Can you all see my screen now? Perfect. So obviously we already went through how you can send the kind of email letter or print letter from when you book in an appointment. Does everyone remember where this is, like in the system when I show you this screen? Do you know where it is? Do you recognize it?
Once you've booked in an interview?
Yes, exactly. So once you booked in an interview, you'll be able to send out that email letter and a print letter if that's something that you want to do as well. But the next thing is what we're going to go through is how sending an email, and it's very, very similar to what Kieran showed you. Kieran, if you don't mind showing it in the live system again, because I believe you'll be able to see the templates and stuff like that, because I believe they'll have that availability as well, won't they?
Yeah, just give me a second to get it up and then I'll share my screen once it's loaded.
Perfect. Because we have such trouble with the UAT system not showing properly, I thought it would be better for Kieran to show you the options in the live system so you can see that you'll have different drop downs and template options and kind of the options that you'll have in the live system, if that makes sense.
And just a quick one for the dialogue as well. It's both ingoing and outgoing. So if you get an email from a service user, just say, hi, I'm not available at this time. Can you record it? Just quickly add a dialogue as well, copying that email, and just a quick one of the email the participant has, service user has emailed in with this new meeting booked. Again, because it's just all about that audit trail.
Yeah, so let me just show you what Kieran means in, I'll just show you like this. So as you can see, here, this is from like a text message. So like the reason has been, oh, a text message and it was
You're not sharing,
unsuccessful.
Felicia.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
There we go. Now you should see it. So now you should see it. The reason, text message, you can see that it's been a template attached and text message. You won't be able to see that here, but this is what Karen means. In the dialogue comments, you'll be able to add any comments that you want to add to that specific message, whether it was successful or unsuccessful. So you can see you can add that in here.
Say that a client does email, does respond with an email or a text message. Where would they go through to? So how would we be able to see them? What system do they go to? And then how do we copy it onto the system, onto Orion?
So the text message, so we can text out from Orion, but it's a kind of do not text back to this number, more of a just a notification kind of text message.
Yeah.
I don't think there's scope for work phones on this contract, but I'm not 100% sure that is something that operations would have to go through Christine. So in terms of if you get a text message, that might be more some of the like community health coaches who may have a kind of a phone of such, but a lot of what kind of your functionality will be through Teams. But if it's an email back, because the email will technically be sent from your email address, you will get the email back to your personal email address, not your personal, your work email address, sorry.
Yeah,
so it's not as if you get like an Orion notification, say email from Bugs Bunny, you will get the email yourself and then you'll just have to open their file up. So I'll just quickly share my screen in terms of the kind of emails. So again, this is on the live one, so I'm not going to kind of save or do anything on it. So I've picked the reason as email. Again, you can see underneath there is email received, so that's where you'll show kind of what you come back, the participant service user has replied with. So email and then template, you can see, okay, so it's a initial interview appointment email, and it should, when I press load next to it, it should load it up. Again, sometimes it's a bit kind of slow, but then the template will load up showing you, there you go, you can see of what it is. Because there isn't anything linked to it, because this is someone who's already live, there isn't an initial interview appointment that is classed as open. So it's trying to pull data from somewhere that doesn't exist. So that's why these weird bits are there, but they will automatically be populated as long as you have an initial appointment that is open. But you can see it's what is exactly is required. Again, for this contract, of what we'll be doing, directions, everything. So everything will be templated like that. All you've got to do is just quickly check, yep, that's going to the right person. Yep, them details are right for the meeting. Any attachments you may need to do, and then send it.
All right, very good. So next thing, I'm actually going to give one of you a task.
Sorry, just before you do that, can I ask one quick question? Because Kieran, you mentioned that the email would come back to you. So you sent a client an email and then you were on annual leave the next week and the client replied in the weekend. Would anyone else be able to pick up that email, or would it just go to
so
you?
what you it's more going to be a case of, if it's a case you're on annual leave, of setting that out of office template up. Okay. So for example, for yourself, thank you for your email. I'm unfortunately on, well, not unfortunately, that's not the word I should use, but I'm on annual leave and will have no access to my emails. For any queries, please contact Roxanne, example, then you'll just put Roxanne's email address on you. I'm sure there'll be some agreement in place of covering elements of that. Yeah, but if it's a case of you haven't got any out of office on, there isn't a way for emails to be kind of monitored in that respect. So it would be a case of you'd pick it back up upon your return.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, very good. So I'm going to give one of your tasks. I have decided that Eloy is going to be the unfortunate one. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to book in an appointment, cancel that appointment, and book in a new one. So follow that kind of canceling an appointment process. And if you could share your screen with all of us, that would be amazing.
Okay, let's have a look.
The pressure's on.
Right. Sorry, 1 second.
Oh, very convenient that someone is just trying to get a hold of him as he's going to demonstrate something.
No. My wife was giving kisses to the baby right by the door. So I just told her to close it. Right, so share my screen. You'll see it?
Yep.
So read interviews, book an interview, location remote, interview type initial.
Yep.
So the initial, is this initial, what in ThriveTry we used to call initials the first appointment with a coach. So
No, so
is that
the initial is your initial contact, I believe, right, Kieran?
So because there's going to be two different kinds of initials that you will be dealing with. There'll be your initial and then the initial with the coach. The coaches have different ones like welcome calls, but that will be where they will get the referral and they will ring them before to introduce themselves so they were aware of who they'll be kind of seeing. But for yourselves, it's pretty much just going to be initials, or if it's a case, for example, you do 90% of the meeting, but like the example, they're shopping, you may then book it as a follow-up just to finalize it, but the initial is the one you will use primarily.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to set 15 minutes for the initial. 15:30 and save. Right, so we have the initial here. So I'm going to go into the date, cancelled. Yep.
Very good.
So I just left a little note, and let me just check that I'm not missing anything. Yeah, can't fill any of that out. So save. Interview has not been booked. Do you wish to continue without booking?
You can click OK.
Okay.
And then you can book a new one in if you want. If you don't want to book one in, you can just click on back.
I will book a new one in.
Yeah, that's fine.
So on the 17th, sorry, go on, Lorna.
No, go on, Eloy. Why? It's just while Eloy's doing that. Like, is there any particular? Do you know yet if there's any particular like date range that we have to follow? For example, in the last role, we could contact them no more than like 3 times in 5 days.
Yeah.
So if you guys knew what the
Yeah, I think it was kind of a similar time. Like I say, you've got that 28 days kind of to get them on there. Whether you want to, if it's a case if it's on a Monday, you then try again on the Wednesday and the Friday, and kind of almost stick to like a due day pattern. There might be some cases where you do initially get in contact with the service user, and then it may be you agree a date like the following week. Again, it just depends. But yeah, kind of when I was on an employability program before, and it's kind of different because we try and get hold of them like 3 times a day, and everything. So it's not as if you're potentially going to be pushing any barriers of like harassment, but if you were in their shoes, how much would you want to be contacted if you were wanting support? 3 times a week seems like a good number, to be fair, and they get the notifications and reminders anyway. It's not as if they miss that phone call, there's nothing else that they have to work on. Like they have an email, they'll have a reminder about the next appointment anyway. So there's plenty of communication for them as well.
Yeah, okay, perfect. It was more just when they don't answer or don't engage with us.
Yeah.
So if someone answers, we'd reschedule a call. They're like, "Oh, I'm on holiday." That's fine. Reschedule it for 2 weeks. But yeah, if they don't answer, it was like 3 attempts, and then you're bordering on harassment.
So it's again with kind of different ones. It may want to be a case of, because obviously you'll have 15-minute, half an hour window for the phone call. You say 12 o'clock, you make a phone call. It may be then worth just giving it 5 minutes, then attempting another phone call.
Okay.
Or if it's a case of it goes to the voicemail, leaving a voicemail, because especially when you're calling out of Teams, it's going to appear as it should appear as like an 0330 number.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will ignore 0330 numbers. But if it's a case of you ring, they don't answer, voicemail, "Hi, it's Kieran, just calling from the Kensington Chelsea support program for your Move More dates, looking to set you up for an initial. I'll try calling again in 5 minutes, just see if I can get hold of you to book this," and then try again within that 5 minutes and see. Because as long as it's dialogued, you can leave that meeting open. As long as it's closed by the end of the day, you've got like any meeting on today needs to be closed before close of play today. So you can leave it open if they say, "Oh, call me back in half an hour." You don't have to mess around with always cancelling rebooking if you've had that agreement. So kind of use it to your judgment. If it's a case of success rate on calls is low, you might then want to make that initial call, leave a voicemail, and try again 5-10 minutes time.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah, it'll be just on a case by case basis as well. Again, I think you'll know which users after a couple of attempts aren't really bothered about it and feel like they've been pressured by the GP and said yes just to get them off the back.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
No,
if I do try to contact the client for the initial, and they haven't taken the call, so if they don't have a voicemail service, would they automatically get a text message, or would I need to create one myself, send it to them after I've contacted them?
So if you are queuing anything up from Orion, it does push it back towards the later end of the day. It's not an immediate send. So what you then might want to do is just get the email address from the record and just send them an email yourself and just type it up as a quick one. "Hi, I've tried to contact. This is the number it comes on. I'll try again in X amount of time."
Perfect. And then I record that I've sent them an email on so and so date and time.
Exactly. So you do that in the dialogue tab. So you just create a new dialogue and just put all the information, as much information that you can put it in the dialogue, because it just makes it easier for everyone else if someone checks in on the record, or for any reason if you're sick for a day and someone else needs to pick up something. So yeah, just record everything.
So just a quick one. So this isn't necessarily linked to this per se, but have you all used Teams before? So so in terms of where to find your number. So for other programs, they can make it so your outgoing calls come from a specific number, but I just don't know if they will link it to the number that's associated on the website or not. That's more of an IT thing. So it may be a case it comes from the number that's on the Kensington Chelsea website, and they link the two together. So if a service user attempts to make a phone call through the number on the website, it will then come through to all of you at the same time until one of you answers. But that's an IT thing. So kind of more just once everything goes live, maybe have a play, just call your own mobile number from Teams and see what number pops up, because that's what number the participant will receive. Service user, sorry. I will keep saying that for the rest of the training. I do apologize.
I know. I do the same thing, honestly. All right. Perfect. So I will share my screen again. So I'll let you go, Eloy. All right. And then just to double check with you, Kieran, when it comes to putting the service user on courses, because I know in the training we have canceling a session, but I don't know whether they will put them on the course or whether that's the health coach.
No, that's a health coach. So you will just purely be creating the file, engaging with the service user, doing the assessment, and then booking them into a diary. I think it's just more cancelling something. There's no course bookings, or to my knowledge, there isn't.
No, that's what I thought as well. So let me just unshare a minute so I can put this member on a course, so I can then show you how to cancel a session on the course. So just give me a second.
I don't want to confuse you, but do you want to see that side of things, or you're not bothered and just want to see the cancellation? This is for everyone else on the call. Sorry.
Yeah.
So usually it would be the coaches cancelling this. I mean, it'll be good to know. It'll be good to know, at least for me personally, just in case the coaches come to us. I mean, we could always push it back to go to the line managers, but if they do come to us, it might be good to see how you cancel a course.
Yeah, so I'm going to show first. So I'm basically going to put this member on the course, so you'll be able to see that as well. And then I'll show you how to cancel like a session on the course, if that makes sense. I'll show you kind of both, so you can see the background, how it works, I guess. All right. So when we add a member onto a course or a service user onto the course, we just go to the courses tab right here. And we're going to submit the member to a new course or module. And then on the type, I'm just going to leave this as blank, because really just the options for this program should come up. And then we'll search on that. And you can see that this is the course that has come up. So this is what we are going to choose. So I'll choose this one. And then you'll be able to see kind of all the dates that the sessions are taking place and when they start and when they end as well. And then you can just submit the member to the course. And it's the same thing here. He's been submitted now. And when the coach does this, and they'll be able to send a print letter. And I believe that print letter like includes all the dates and times, if I'm not wrong, Kieran, but I believe it does. Or they can email it as well.
Yeah, it pretty much contains what it does on an email, just as a letter.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
In our old system, the print letter would just give you the template that you can print out and send yourself. Is there a department that does this for you at Reed, or if you select print letter, will you get a template that you need to print out and then put it in an envelope and send it to the client or the service user?
Do you want to just open it up, Felicia? So there are a lot of contracts where, especially like the employability ones, where we will generate a letter, maybe for unable to contact. There's some that are mandatory, so we'd send a mandation letter out. So a lot of them links to that.
So you might have to do that in the live system. Sorry to cut you off, Kieran, because it's not working on this one.
Yeah, I'll load it up in a sec. Or if it's a case of you're with the service user face to face, and they say, oh, if you're telling me, I'll forget it. But if I've got it written down somewhere, I'll remember it. You can then print the letter out for the next one. But I'll just quickly load up the live one again and show you.
I think what Elo is trying to say as well is our office is our home, so we don't have printers or posters.
Yeah. So
is there like a central team that would print it and post it for us?
If it's a case you needed to, there will be maybe someone on the contract itself who works from the office. You'd probably maybe one of the managers or someone stationed is, can you print me this letter? But on the whole, I can't see there's much functionality for you to need to. I think it's more just we're showing you a functionality on the system. Okay, you probably, I'd think you'd never really use it because everything's going to be email based.
Yeah, I mean it was very, very rare that someone would request a letter back at Thrive Tribe. It's usually the people with only landline numbers and no email address. So the elderly and people like that that would want it in a physical.
So yeah, this is just for their next meeting. I'll just quickly scroll down. It's not obviously for them, but you can see it's virtually the exact same as the email template. And again, just ready to print out and send to the address. So that's the only difference, is the physical address that's on the file will then be ready for you to do. But yeah, I think that one, it may be worth just kind of speaking with kind of operations and seeing if you do need to print it, is there anybody we can use as a printer, basically, who can do it and send letters on our behalf? Does that answer your question? Sorry, Eloy, sorry for misunderstanding the first bit. Yeah, thank you.
All right, very good. So let me share my screen again. Can you all see my screen? Yes, I see some nodding. Good. All right, so this is now the module that we kind of added the participant on. And let's say this is now where we're gonna cancel one of the sessions. We're gonna cancel one of these. So I'm gonna click on edit if it wants to work. There we go. And you can see still the start time and end time. And with the submission status, this is where we're going to put it as rejected. And the attendance status, we're going to put it as submission removed as the attendance status. So once that is done, we're going to click on save. Hopefully that saves. It should have done. Submission updated successfully. So we'll go back to the Bugs Bunny. And you can see now that we've changed it, it has the status updated as rejected on to here. So after this is done as well, or like whenever you do make a change in the system as a whole, I would say, so like whether you've like canceled a session like this, or whether you've done something that the health coach might be aware of, anything you do should be logged as a dialogue. So you just create anything new. I believe there is an option where it says doesn't it say just note or something like that, Kieran, on the system, on the live system? I believe it says like note or something like that.
Yeah, there's note, and there's also audit as well. So again, if it's anything for like an audit trail, just use the audit one, because our internal audit team will then just do checks, and it's just, again, it's a good bit to them. So if you've done something on the system, like remove them from a course, that audit trail of I've done this, it just helps them understand kind of rationale, because there's going to be somebody who doesn't know the engagement with that service user, trying to kind of make sure the file is compliant, basically. So yeah, but I'll get it up and show you the exact reasons for it in just a second.
Very good. But while Kieran is doing that, does the system make sense so far? Like, is it relatively easy to follow along? Obviously, you'll have this recording if you want to look back on it. You'll have the guidance, and you'll have my presentation as well. And then I'll still book in the little checkups with you next year. That sounds very strange to say, but next year to check in with you. But does it make sense? How does it feel so far?
I think it's from my perspective, it seems pretty straightforward, easy to use. The only part, this is why I'm counting on Zingtree.
Yeah.
The only part that I'm worried about is the GDPR statement. So if I'm on the call to a client, when would I interject that statement and get their verbal consent over the telephone? What kind of conversation do I need to have with them about GDPR? Before I go on to the booking stage or the rest of the triage.
This is the live one, so I won't save anything down, but I can quickly go through kind of what it looks like. So obviously we'll be doing it as kind of like an outbound call, and they are interested in, say, move more. So obviously you've kind of got this kind of script and everything you'll go through, confirm obviously their identity, any kind of missing data, confirm the choice, and kind of what it would need to, you kind of need to do. So it kind of does go through what the kind of step by step on what timing wise on the system needs to be done. You happy for me to continue? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry, generally everyone else, sorry, just to make sure I'm not rushing through, so they've had a chance to see. So we'll just go through to the adult person. So then you'll go through the brief questionnaire, kind of prompts and everything like that. Then you've got the kind of appointment, and it kind of does go through in terms of the appointments of what they are. And then program overview. It's not going to let me because I've not added one-to-one remote. NA. Believe it should be in there. I will admit this is the only contract that really uses Zingtree, so I'll have to have a look, but it should be in that bit around it. And to be fair, on the referral, if I just open the privacy link,
Yeah, usually the referral has, like, it mentions GDPR.
Yeah.
And they would have agreed with the GP. It's more in terms of self-referrals and things like that.
Let me
I
just.
think in the self-referral case, it's automatically like in the referral. Is that right here? I think it mentioned something about that in the self-referral, that like they accept it as like they sign on, or like, if that makes sense, as they do the referral, it's like they accept the data protection as they do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so everyone see my screen again, sorry.
Yeah.
So it should be, so this is for the self-referral. Obviously I won't kind of, I don't know if that'll submit if I press let's get started. I can try
it. Probably does.
Yeah, it probably does. So you'll obviously which service, so this is what will be on the referral form. And if you click on the privacy policy, it will then link to it.
Yeah.
So this is where they will do it. And I'm sure them by reading the privacy policy, pressing yes, and then sending the referral over, that's their consent.
Yeah.
So it should be all linked to the referral form as well. So by them doing it is the consent. But then for the NHS, I'm sure the NHS will use this link anyway. But it may be then a case of when it says where the referrals come from, they might put that. So everything should have already come to you at that point.
Yeah. What if someone just rings us from the number, sees the number, they're like, oh, I don't like doing things online, because we do get a lot of older people. Could it then maybe be emailed to them at some point, or
yeah,
would we have to do it on the phone?
If you click on them.
Yeah, but what if someone just sees the number at the top and rings? They don't do the referral through this sign-up form. They literally just ring us and say, hi, I want to join.
I think you can, that's when you would create them on the system if they're happy to do that, or you can give them the option of I can fill this out with you on the phone and then get the referral form that way, because you'll still need a referral form to upload. So it just might be a case, if you have this saved, if someone rings up, I'll quickly run through it with you just to get these details. You don't necessarily potentially have to go through and say, I'm just going to do what you do on the system, but I'm just going to take...
because in our previous role, if someone just rang up, we would create them. We didn't require having to have any referral form or anything like that. We would literally create them as a self-referral on the system.
Yeah, I'll double check if that's all right and confirm it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Just to be 100% on that. But yeah, as soon as I've got the answer, I'll pop it in the chat to confirm it.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Any other questions before I move on to our last little section? All good? All right. So just our last little section is just going to be about closing a service user's record. So if the individual you haven't been able to contact them after 3 attempts over a 28-day period, and that is from the receival of the referral, or that they have expressed that they wish to kind of be removed from the service. If that is the case, we need to close their record on Orion. So to do that, we go to the status history tab from in here. And then from in here, we should change the record. It's not able to do it. Kieran, do you know why I'm not able to do that? Did he disappear?
Sorry, what was that? I was just typing out to Jacob, sorry.
Not able to close the record on UAT. Is that just because it's on UAT?
Yeah, I think it's UAT.
There we go.
It's should let you on the
should
live
let
one.
you.
I'll see if I can get it on the live one without messing around with someone's live account just
Yeah,
to show you what it looks like.
probably a good idea. But I'll show you in the presentation while Kieran gets that up. But you'd go to the status history tab. And in there will basically be a hyperlink where you can click on change status. And from in there, you'd change the status from active to closed. And it's really important that you put a reason for the change of it as well. So you'd put that you were unable to contact that service user or that potential service user. So you weren't able to contact that individual. And then you'd click on change status, and that would kind of update and close the record. If a service user file is closed.
Sorry, Felicia, I'll just quickly share this. Sorry, I thought there was a quick break. So this is on the live one where I've gone onto the change status and do it.
Yeah.
For this program, we're not able to close it because it's a DWP one. A prep team has to close it, but for this contract, you'll be able to. So it is just on here, new status. It can only change to disengaged, then the reason, and then change status, and it will automatically change that for you on there.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned before, you will have like different drop downs from it as well. So like if you weren't able to contact the participant, you'll have that drop down where it says unable to contact the participant. But if they just don't want to participate, you will have a drop down where it says no longer wishes to participate on the service. You just have to choose the relevant one as to why you're closing the record of that individual.
Just before you share back, just going back to your previous question, Lorna, about the referrals, if they ring up, just create the Orion file and then add a note in the interview notes or into dialogue just to confirm that it was a telephone self-referral.
Okay,
no referral forms being made, but that's where you'll then need to kind of go through the privacy policy on the call with them. And that's just using that link that I shared for the privacy policies. Is that all right?
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Very good.
One quick question.
Yeah,
Sorry,
of course.
I feel like I'm making this longer.
No, don't worry.
No, it's gone. Sorry. Had the question in the back of my mind for a while, but I can't remember it now.
No, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. What I'll do as well, you guys have followed along on the system, which is really, really good. So what I will do now is I will actually send the presentation out to you, and I will give you about half an hour to go through that presentation. And it has all the information that we've gone through today. And as you go, I want you to write down any questions that you might get from the presentation that we might have missed, or as you're going through in the presentation and doing it in the system, if any questions pop up that we haven't covered, then just write them down quickly, and we will come back at 10 past 1, because I have you until 1:30. So come back at 10 past 1. I'll put it in the chat. And I'll send the presentation out as well while I'm in here. And just so Kieran and I get kind of a last opportunity to answer any questions that you might have before I let you all go at 1:30.
Just a quick one, sorry, Felicia. On
go
the
for it.
training at the end, I can't remember, is there tasks to be completed?
There's tasks throughout the training.
Yep.
So if you want to complete those, that would be, if you haven't done through the training, that would be amazing. If you haven't completed them, that's fine. So what we will do is when I book those 15-minute meetings with you, is Kieran and I will check up on those tasks as well. And hopefully the UAT systems should be working a little bit better at that point as well. Does that work with you, Kieran?
Yeah, so just in terms of the live system, we basically as a compliance team will have to confirm you're compliant on the system before creating your live one. So what we might have to do is just contact operations just to see realistically how quickly they want you to be up and running, because obviously the health coaches can't do anything until the referrals have been completed and made onto Orion. So it may be a case of if we need to get you up and running earlier, the task will be done, and we just have a call sooner rather than later, and just see, are you happy with Orion? Can you do this? Can you do this? And get you signed off in that respect. But we'll just double check with operations, kind of what their thoughts and processes of it are, of when they want you up and running. And I'd imagine it's probably going to be sooner rather than later for your team, just as it's a case of they can at least then get the people sat in current in referral onto Orion and made, if that's all right.
So
yeah, I mean they've already opened us for calls. So at the moment we're just recording callbacks, taking basic information and having to call people back. That does remind me what my question was though.
Yeah.
How do we know how many people with an open status that will need to be contacted? So if we do have a UTC, how do we know how many people we've got to go through? How many people are live and waiting for callbacks, unless we're recording them on our calendar?
So let me just open UAT up. So it won't show it fully on the UAT yet because it's linked to live data. I'll just quickly share my screen. Just let me know when you can see it.
Yeah.
So if you go on to reports and referrals, you'll then be able to kind of filter down by program type. So say move more. Again, I think at the minute it's program type. I'm not sure then if, because they're all classed as different programs, you'll have to do it one by one. But you can then create a report which will then, as an Excel, will show you who's still registered, for example, and they'll be the people that haven't been created yet or haven't been linked to have started. So there is reports, but it doesn't link to data on UAT. It will link to live data. So it'd have to be on Orion where you have a play with them. Is that all right?
Cool. Yeah, thanks for that, Kieran.
It's all right.
All right. If everyone can just download that presentation that I put in the chat and make sure you have it. And then we will reconvene at 1:10. And don't forget to write down any questions you might have so we can answer them in the last 20 minutes or so. I'm happy for you to either jump off the call or turn off your camera and unmute yourself. Either way, just be back at 1:10. All right?
Thank you.
All right. See you then.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Are you all back?
Hello.
Everyone's back. Very good.
Hi.
Very good. Miriam, Lorna. Very good. Just wait for Roxanne and Eloy as well.
I think you're on mute, Lorna.
I keep turning my camera off because I need new glasses, and all you'll see is me. Just screen like that.
How did you find it?
Okay, it was good. I was taking a bit time actually reading through all the questionnaire questions on the particular, because I picked weight loss this time compared to the stop smoking last time. So yeah, just seeing what the different ones are about.
It's always nice to know, because especially when you get into it, because last thing you want, especially as like as a new program, I know it's a kind of extension, you've been delivering it with Thrive Tribe, but the questions may be slightly similar, is you sound on the phone as if you don't know what you're asking, because then straight away that trust from the participant service user, it just seems like, well, does she know what she's on about? What's like what?
Yeah.
Who is this person? So yeah, no, I totally get that. Understand, knowing what you're asking is always a massive pro.
Very good. Well, now we're all back. So, Kieran, do you want to go into the part that we missed first, or do you want to explain what's happening next, or how would you like to approach?
I'll go through the explanation, and there's a tiny bit left to kind of go through, which is more something you might not use all the time, but is nice to know. So just spoke with Jacob, so he's the senior BPA, and he's been kind of more in contact with operations, and we will look to try and get you signed off today. So I mentioned about sign off sooner rather than later. We're looking at getting you signed off today. So once we have finished today on the training, the dummy participant that you have been using, that you've done the tasks with, once you've done all the tasks and you're happy with your beginning to end journey, if you just reconfirm the name of the service user on the UAT in the chat, we will then check it over and then confirm, yes, we're happy for you to get live Orion, from UAT. Or if there's something wrong, we'll look to give you a quick call and just kind of discuss why that's not 100% and what the correct process is. But the aim is to get you signed off today.
And also, then, I just want to add as well, if it's not, if there is a task you're not able to complete, if you can put your understanding on it, like you understand like how to do the task, but you're not able to do it because the system isn't able to, if you can just put that in a separate sheet for me and Kieran, that would be amazing. So put what the task is and like why you weren't able to do it in the system, but you understand how to do it because you do it like this, if that makes sense.
Yep. Thank you.
Go on, Kieran.
And then we'll still look to have the kind of the one-to-one calls with you if you want over the next kind of few days, just to see kind of how you're feeling now. You're on the live system and everything on that, so we can still kind of get those planned in. But again, we can kind of confirm those with you one-to-one basis around your diary availability, and that if that's okay with everyone. So the last thing I want to kind of go through is something called a DAR, which is a data amendment request. So this is kind of one of the things we always kind of look at covering last is we want you to get it wrong on the dummy system first. Kind of for yourselves, if you've been using the system, it's just a new system, so you might not, but especially for kind of new people who join the company who's not used to the act of a case management system, is mistakes will happen. We're all human. Mistakes will always happen with that. And with it being live data, we have a proper process to go through, and that is the DAR process. So what that will be is for yourselves, if you make a mistake, so you've closed a meeting as an example, and you've realised you've put the wrong notes in, or you've closed the meeting as the wrong status and you need it reopening to close it correctly, this is where you will raise a DAR. So do you want to just flick through anything on yours, Felicia? Sorry.
Yeah, 1 second. It's just
So there's some of the reasons of what a DAR might be raised for. If you just want to have a quick look, again, we'd get you to kind of go through and think of what some could be, but I don't want to kind of I've got 15 minutes left. I want to make sure this bit's understood rather than kind of time on that. So it is if there's basically anything wrong on the system, we would get it opened and confirm it. For yourself, Eloy, you'll say you're the program support manager.
Yeah.
So for it, the request should come to yourself. So if Roxanne, Lorna, or Miriam make a request,